Gurjant has played a pivotal role in helping startups build their tech stacks from scratch and has been recognized in the Hall of Fame by Apple, Nokia, and Facebook for his contributions to cybersecurity. He also actively mentors students in programming and security at various colleges. And today, we'll dive into crucial topics like cybersecurity for small businesses, cost-effective security solutions, and best practices for digital safety, all aimed at helping entrepreneurs safeguard their operations from cyber threats.
The first thing you need to actually do is research a lot about the company, right? You need to put efforts into this.
Right.
So once you find a weakness in a system, you need to exploit it. And part of that is sometimes finding a vulnerability, or we call it a 0 day sometimes.
Right.
Well, we can describe on what a 0 day is. 0 day vulnerability research, all of that take times and resources from the attacker side too.
What are the best practices for digital safety? I know that you touch base on so many of them, but with remote work and digital transactions becoming the norm, I mean, cybersecurity best practices are now more important than ever.
The problem here is, first, be careful who you trust, right? The second is that your students, the parents, the teacher trust you.
Right.
Know the solution you are buying.
Buying, true.
So even if you bought some solution, make sure to check that. Make sure to also do your proper hygiene of the security and ask them question. Put the pressure on them to do security properly if you can.
Are you feeling overwhelmed by the challenges of keeping your business secure from cyber threats? Please don't wait until it's too late. Implementing even basic cybersecurity solutions or measures can save your business from costly attacks. This is Maheen and welcome to the CanadianSME Small Business Podcast, where we provide insights and expert advice to help small business owners thrive in today's competitive landscape. Joining us today is Gurjant Singh, a cybersecurity expert with over 12 years of experience in this field, working with major organizations such as AWS, IBM, and Wealthsimple. Gurjant has played a pivotal role in helping startups build their tech stacks from scratch and has been recognized in the Hall of Fame by Apple, Nokia, and Facebook for his contributions to cybersecurity. He also actively mentors students in programming and security at various colleges. And today, we'll dive into crucial topics like cybersecurity for small businesses, cost-effective security solutions, and best practices for digital safety, all aimed at helping entrepreneurs safeguard their operations from cyber threats. So let's get started. Gurjant, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm good, and thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure.
Very pleased to have you with us. Now, Gurjant, let's open our discussion by understanding cybersecurity for small businesses, because cybersecurity threats, they are on the rise, and small businesses, they're often the most vulnerable due to limited resources and expertise.
Yes.
And Gurjant, we're very eager to learn how small businesses can protect their data and assets effectively. Now, in your experience, what are the biggest cybersecurity threats that small businesses face today, and why do cybercriminals often target them over large corporations?
I think the best thing we can do is make you a hacker today and think from that perspective and see how you would attack a company, right? If you would be a hacker, I guess, or an attacker, the first thing you need to actually do is research a lot about the company, right? You need to put efforts into this.
Right.
So once you find a weakness in a system, you need to exploit it. And part of that is sometimes finding a vulnerability, or we call it a 0 day sometimes.
Right.
Well, we can describe on what a 0 day is. 0 day vulnerability research, all of that take times and resources from the attacker side too, right? So when you're putting this much time into something, right, you want to get some reward from it. So attackers look at the juicy targets.
Right.
So usually that's where SMBs don't see highly targeted attacks.
Right.
But then you come up with this strategy of automating attacks. Think about phishing attacks. So usually what happens is attacker will send thousands of email out and see who got caught in the net.
Right.
And also similar with like ransomware attacks. So what happens with the ransomware, they basically infect the other system. The system itself infect the other system. So you just sit back once you do the attack and see how many fish comes back. Right. So when you do that, so this is where like three major things we see in small companies or medium enterprise is phishing attacks, because it's pretty much automated.
Right.
Ransomware attacks is on the rise for small to medium sized enterprise. And the last is just password leaks. So people don't have enough knowledge or education in cybersecurity. So they use really weak passwords or end up using the same password at multiple websites. I've seen scenarios where people just gave the password to the attacker, thinking they were talking to their employee or one of their colleague in the office. So when that happens, it's one of the major 3 things we have seen so far. But I believe it's going to change a lot. The reason for the change is AI. So as an attacker, I told you, like, you were able to automate phishing attacks, right? With AI, you are gonna able to automate more sophisticated attacks. So this is one of the reasons you see rise in attacks for SMEs in recent years, because attackers are able to automate more and more. So they need to put less effort and just see how many people they can find out there.
Well, those were some great points, Gurjant. I mean, many small businesses assume that they won't be targeted, but they often lack the security infrastructure to defend against attacks. Now, understanding the risks is crucial, but taking preventive action is so important. What are some practical steps that small businesses can take to improve their cybersecurity posture without needing a dedicated IT team?
Well, it's a tough question. I mean, that's what we are trying to find, and one of the reason of my company exists, Defense Station, is exactly to solve this problem. But think from the perspective, even a larger corporations, right? Think at like Uber, for example, or Microsoft or AWS. Even they get compromised after spending millions of dollars on cybersecurity budget with a lot of people. So to expect that SME is not going to get compromised, it's a very high bar, right? But there are effective measures you can take. One analogy we end up using is don't be the low hanging fruit, which means if you're going to be the lowest hanging fruit, people are going to pick you the first, right? And that's same for attackers. If it only requires 5 minutes of work, which has, I can talk to you many cases of this, then you're going to probably get compromised. And it's also the mindset. I think the first major thing SMEs needs to change is the mindset. Thinking that you don't have anything to protect, or you are secure, or you don't need security is one of the most unreasonable thing to believe in as a owner. I have a question for you, Maheen. What do you think, what happens if the SMB get compromised? In next 6 months?
I think we'll be shut down.
Yes, pretty much. So there's a report by Verizon in 2023 that says after a cybersecurity attack on SME, within a 6 month, 80% of companies shut down. Right? And like people don't think about this. It's never on their radar until this happens. Once it happens, it's already too late.
True.
So I think one of the basic thing people can do is educate themselves. They need security, first of all. And once they understand they need security, just protect yourself first. Because if you are the founder, if you are the owner of the organization, you're going to be the most juiciest attack for attackers, right? If I compromise you, I pretty much has access to everything.
To everything else,
Yes. So MFAs, like there's another report by Microsoft, like if you just enable MFA or multi-factor authentication, not just SMS. SMS is not a great option. We can talk about that. But if you do that, 90% of automated attacks are prevented, right? So do that first of all. And passwords. I would just don't use them. There are passwordless methods we have now. WebAuthn is another example of this. If you can do that, but if you can't, use a really strong password, use a hardware key, and please do not write your passwords on a note or a paper and put it back of your Zoom calls, because that has happened also. So there are, I think if I have to summarize, use MFA, learn about security that you needed, make sure your passwords are not used again. Another big factor is actually outdated software. So once you install something on a system, it's working. The idea is if it's working, I don't want to touch it. But then it's an outdated system, outdated software, you never updated it, and you are basically the lowest hanging fruit out there for attackers to pick. And that's another report by Verizon to say that 80% of attacks we have seen successful is either outdated softwares in the world.
Wow.
So these are the few key points, but we can talk all day about it.
No, thank you so much for breaking that down for us. And these insights are very invaluable for small business owners who want to stay ahead of these cyber threats. Hi, everyone. Are you feeling overwhelmed by the challenges of keeping your business secure from cyber threats? Please don't wait until it's too late. Implementing even basic cybersecurity solutions or measures can save your business from costly attacks. Please take action today to protect your data, your customers, and your future. Next, Gurjant, let's delve into cost-effective security solutions for SMEs because I know we slightly touch base on them, but let's delve deeper into it because many small business owners they worry that cybersecurity is too expensive,
Yes.
right? But there are ways to implement strong security measures without breaking the bank.
Yeah.
Gurjant, how can small businesses access enterprise-level security on a budget? Are there any affordable tools or strategies that you would recommend?
Well, I think it's one of the hardest thing in cybersecurity today. And as I told, that's exactly what we are trying to do at Defense Station too. So amount of budget you have for SMB is really low. So
Right.
I think from three perspectives. So like if you really need a solution that could solve this problem for SMEs, it has to check three boxes. The first is cost. It has to be, right? You don't have a lot of money to spend because you need to do a lot of things. So the solution needs to be really cost effective. And that basically eliminates I think 50% of good cybersecurity tools out there. And we can talk about there's a lot of snake oil in our industry. We can talk all about that, but that eliminates that. The second is ease of use. Because if you do not have somebody dedicated in cybersecurity, only somebody, one person in IT, the solution cannot be hard enough to implement.
Right.
And in reality today, actually you need a training to use the cybersecurity tool itself. So if it's that complicated, it's not going to be utilized.
Right.
And that's what we've seen. Like I've seen reports up to 40% of cybersecurity tools bought are never utilized. Right. The third thing in that is it has to be automated.
Right.
Right. That also goes to your time and money you need to spend. So if you can check these three boxes, I think we can solve this. And then if you're looking at a cybersecurity solution, I have a few recommendations. Do a little bit more research than you usually would do.
Right.
Because cybersecurity tools are not great in some sense. They are like kind of a snake oil to say. But the problem there is you do not know as the SME owner. You look at something, you say, oh, hey, this guy is saying they will do, let's say, pen testing or vulnerability scan, something like that. The other guys is also saying the same thing, but they are charging me 50% less. So I'm just going to go with them, right? True. What's the difference? But the difference is in the quality. And then we have this, I would say, a trick in our industry where they will sell you something that is not a good fit or the quality is not great. And you would never know until you get compromised. And when you get compromised, the excuse we have is nothing is 100% secure.
Yeah.
So that means you can buy any cybersecurity tool and just cross your fingers. And that's not a good position to be at. And I think if you're a small owner business, do a little bit more research, look at the effectiveness of the solution. And if I have to give you a guidance, here's what you need to do. The first thing you need to do is build the inventory list because you cannot protect something you do not have.
True.
Simple as that, right? So the first solution or some automated system you need is to just figure it out what you have in your company.
Right.
And once you have that, and now you can go, this helps you to do everything else. Because if you have a limited budget, you need to put it somewhere, which is doing like 80% with 20% of the budget, is to figure it out what is actually important for your business, not what the hype is about.
True.
Right? Sometimes people in cybersecurity is also a scary game because people scare you with, you're going to get hacked tomorrow and something going to happen. You should buy this. In reality, probably you don't need it. Right? Probably you do. I mean, it depends upon your business. So with that inventory, figure it out what your crown jewels are, what's really important to your business, and then start from there. And then there's this whole checklist. Do vulnerability, do pen test if that is required, do continuous monitoring. And the people who have access to that, access audits, if you have compliance requirements. I can talk all day about compliance and how has done more harm to our industry than good. Then also think about training the employees who utilize those systems, right? These are few things you can take to account today.
Right.
And I think it should save you a lot of money instead of just buying software solutions. Think more strategically about these problems and only focus on things you need to focus at a time.
This is amazing. Thank you, Gurjan. But it's great to hear that robust cybersecurity doesn't have to come with a hefty price tag,
Yes.
right? Now, even with affordable tools, business owners, they need to prioritize their security efforts wisely. And if a small business owner, let's say if they had to focus on just 3 key security measures, what would you recommend as their top priorities?
Let's start with the basic.
Okay.
Right? MFA. Just enable MFA already. There are reports that only 20% people actually do it, right? That's going to save you from 90% automated attacks. There's no cost attached to it. And if you're not doing that, then there's no excuse if you get compromised, right? Like, also in cyber insurance cases, if you do not have MFA, they're not going to pay you. That's the requirement. First is this. Second is passwords. Just use strong passwords. Use hardware keys if you can. Do not share your password with people, right? Simple, hygienic stuff. Right. Once you have that, once this is you are personally doing, and you can also enforce this on everybody in your organization, either through training or just setting it as an example, right? If you have done that, I hope you have already done that. The next thing we already discussed, just create the list of everything in your company, right? It has to be what does your company look like at any given moment, and what's part of it, and what's important to you.
Right.
And once you do that, then think, who would actually try to hack you? We call it threat modeling. Right? If you're only storing somebody's first name, last name, I mean, probably state actors, like we call them APTs, advanced persistent threat, not going to target you. So you can not worry about that kind of scenarios, right? So once you figure it out what is really important to your business, from there you can look at who is trying to get this information and what kind of capabilities they have. And then take your budget and try to fix that first.
That is amazing, yeah.
And if you go from that perspective, instead of going from a vendor perspective, even that's what we are trying to also do in cybersecurity, is sell you a solution. You're going to always in a better solution than buying 100 cybersecurity solution and then just not utilize it. That's one of the other cost factor in cybersecurity for small SMEs, because I think cybersecurity solutions are so segregated. They end up often doing the same thing again and again. So you can, if you take like 10 cybersecurity solution in a company, and then if you draw a circle, there's like 40% overlap. So you're paying for the same thing happening again and again.
That is right.
Yeah, if you just collaborate it works with each other better, then I think would be a better world from a security perspective.
Definitely. No, those are some simple yet such effective strategies that small business owners, they can implement today. We'll be right back with more insights on cost-effective security solutions for small businesses. Please stay tuned.
Hey, you think you know UPS? Yeah, that's us. Everybody knows that. You know what you didn't know? This. Okay, try to keep up. Ocean, us. Ground, rail, air, so us. Guess who? Us. Customs cleared, borders cleared, done. Us. Still with me? Wait for it. Boom. Us. Intelligent, automated, fulfillment. Us. Yep. Healthcare too. Digital your thing? Yeah. Well, book it, ship it, track it. You feeling me yet? Yep. That's all us. That's all UPS.
At IHG Hotels and Resorts, we're in the business of you.
We're here to help you plug in,
connect and recharge,
make an impression,
and meet with confidence.
With 19 brands built for business,
your business gets even more rewarding.
With an award-winning loyalty program at 6,000 IHG hotels and resorts worldwide.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's explore how small businesses can implement strong cybersecurity without breaking the bank. Now let's talk about what are the best practices for digital safety. I know that you touch base on so many of them, but with remote work and digital transactions becoming the norm, I mean, cybersecurity best practices are now more important than ever. So, Krishan, what are some common mistakes that small business owners usually make when it comes to digital security, and how can they avoid them?
I mean, we already discussed all of them. I do not want to repeat, so let's some other aspects we haven't
Sure.
talked about. One of things is the mindset itself, right? If you do not have this concern that security is important, I mean, what can we do?
Right.
That's the first thing to change. And the other saying we have is if you wanna make the world better, start at your home, which means start personally with yourself first. So your hygiene, your personal hygiene, when you share data, like how much you trust the vendors. So one of the things I have seen with SMBs specifically in my career is they would buy a solution and now they would think it's their responsibility for the security. Public school boards in Ontario recently got compromised. The data from 1985 to 2017 got leaked. Why? Because they were using this software called public school, I think, public board, as that's the name of the product. It's a US based company. And the mindset, we actually worked with companies in last few years, school boards actually, their mindset is, hey, we are already paying them. So it's their responsibility.
Got it.
The problem here is, first, be careful who you trust, right? The second is that your students, the parents, the teacher trust you.
Right.
Know the solution you are buying.
Buying. True.
So even if you bought some solution, make sure to check that. Make sure to also do your proper hygiene of the security and ask them question. Put the pressure on them to do security properly if you can, right? Because you cannot, in the case, just blame them and have no consequences in there.
Consequences,
right?
yeah.
So here, these are just few things, but I can just talk all the things people need to do for proper hygiene. I mean, let's start with personally. I have a few key ideas. Email is not secure. If you don't believe me, there's a website called Have I Been Pwned?
Right.
Just go there, put your email address. They will tell you how many times you've been already compromised.
Right.
It has, I think, more than 3 billion emails already.
Wow.
Pretty much everybody is there. My personal emails are there. So how that happened? Like even I care about security so much because once I signed up on a website, right, and now I have just put my trust in them, and they got compromised, which leaked my data.
Right.
And my name, my address, my SIN doesn't have changed since then, and this data is very valuable to attackers.
Right.
So do not trust your emails. So we actually provide a solution, a defense station free of cost called Cypher. So use similar solutions to share your data, first of all. Again, hardware keys, if you do not have one with yourself, even a phone is your hardware key. Use either a Google Authenticator or a WebAuthn, which basically scans your face to log in or something like that. If websites enable that, which is a lot of websites do, utilize those features.
Right.
Just spend one more minute and be more secure, because this could actually destroy your life. I have so many examples of this. Like there is a Disney case of an employee where attackers stole somebody's account, personal account. From there, they figured it out this guy was working for a Disney and hacked his Slack channel and leaked Disney's data and pinned on this employee. So he looked in the media that as he was the attacker.
Oh no.
It literally destroyed his life.
That is
and it's from personal hygiene. It has nothing to do with his company. So the implications could go really high. But it's to assume, it's like, I think sometimes like a health insurance.
Right.
When you're fit, you think nothing's going to happen to you. When something does, it's already too late.
Then it's just something that is handy.
Yeah.
Oh wow, this is really eye-opening, Gurjan. Many business owners, they don't realize that they are leaving themselves open to cyber risks. And educating employees is another major factor in maintaining a strong cybersecurity. But how can small businesses train their employees to recognize and respond to cyber threats effectively?
First of all, I don't think we have a silver bullet for it. Let me start with this. A study I read, I think, a couple of years back now. I think Stripe did this study. I might be remembering wrong. Right. But they did a study of phishing attacks, right? they did a training for every employee in their company and showed them, hey, this is how you can spot a phishing email. Spelling mistake. At that time, we didn't had a AGI or not a AI GPT kind of stuff where now the phishing attacks are more potent and they are really good. Really good. I can tell you, even cybersecurity professional can fall for this kind of attacks. Wow. It's eye-opening. But at that time, it was very easy to spot a phishing email, right? They did this training on, I think, Monday. Told everyone, hey, this is how you spot it. And I think on Wednesday or I think Thursday, something like that, within a week, they sent them the same exact email. Guess how many people clicked on it?
Pretty much everyone.
Not everyone. It's like 17%.
17%. Okay.
Yeah. So like at that time, you must question like how effective the measures we currently have. I'm not saying they shouldn't do it. You should definitely do it. It's how much effort you want to put in, how you want to structure the training. Because I have seen people, when you do it too much to people, they got desanitized from it. Basically, if you're doing so many trainings, they just go to it, click on a few buttons and come back. Didn't even think about it, right? Because they already have so much work to do. How are they going to also be a cybersecurity professionals?
Correct.
So I divide cybersecurity into two pieces. One is the responsibility of the cybersecurity teams or IT, and they can technically solve them. And then there's the responsibility of the individuals. Like as a cybersecurity professional, I can fix everything there is. But if you're going to go out and give your phone to somebody and also password, I mean, I can't do anything at that point. So separate your concerns from there and then only target what you actually need to tell people. And from there, track the employees' monitoring. Like phishing simulations is a good strategy. It can do sometimes harm if you do not do properly. But if you do it properly, then you can track how many people are clicking on stuff and do external additional training for them instead of bothering everybody else who's actually taking care of their hygiene. And also monitoring, like just monitor your employees, not in the sense like spy on them, but look at if the emails, the company emails they have signed up on some website that got compromised, something like that. Have I been pwned also helped with that, and there are other tools that can do that for you. So there's a lot of things you can do. It doesn't take a lot of budget. It's actually sometimes mostly free. It just takes a little bit time and education to do it properly.
Right. Now, these best practices, they can totally make a huge difference in keeping businesses safe from cyber threats. Now, as we wrap up, Gurjan, this has been a very informative conversation with you. But if there's one key takeaway that you want small business owners to remember about cybersecurity, what would it be?
I mean, care about cybersecurity. Like, I cannot tell you how many SMEs we go to, as now we are part of like sales process and all that, and they just think they're secure. And I can literally go to their website in 10 minutes and just show them something that isn't secure. And we have done that. We went to a conference and we went to booth and we would just ask them, hey, do you need security as an experiment? They were like, no, we are good. We done all the security. We have done everything we need to do. Like, do you mind if I look at your website, let's say, give me 10 minutes. And if I find nothing, which means you're secure and you know that for guarantee your security, right? And every single time we find something.
Oh, no.
Right. So if I can tell you, like, security is not the product that you can buy and just say, I have it now.
Right.
It's a process. You need to continuously work on it. Because believe me, on the other side, attackers are working every single day to figure out a new attacks or the systems to break it.
Wow.
And that's what you need to realize and work on.
This is great. Thank you so much for such excellent advice, Gurjant. I mean, cybersecurity, from what we understand from our conversation, is that cybersecurity is not just a one-time effort, but an ongoing process, as you mentioned. But it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show, Gurjant, and thank you for your time and your expertise today.
Thank you, Maheen. It's been great.
And that was an insightful conversation with Gurjant Singh, a cybersecurity expert with extensive experience in protecting businesses from cyber threats. Thank you for tuning in to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. We really appreciate your continued support. Please be sure to subscribe to our podcast for more expert insights and resources that can help your business thrive. You can also visit CanadianSME.ca for valuable information and tools. Special thanks to our podcast partners, RBC, UPS, IHG, and Google for their ongoing ongoing commitment to empowering Canadian small businesses. Until next time, stay secure and keep innovating. We'll see you in the next episode.